Welcome to Extension Connection on Super Talk 1270. Thoughtful information and discussion with experts from both Burleigh and Morton County Extension Service offices. Extension Connection provides advice on family nutrition, issues in agriculture, lawn and garden, community leadership, homeowner concerns, and so much more. Live from the Super Talk 1270 studio, this is Extension Connection.
Good morning. This is the Burleigh County Extension Office here. This is Amelia Dahl, 4-H Youth Development Agent, and I'm joined today by Chandra Zeman-Belinsky, our FCS agent, Family Consumer Sciences, and then we also have a special guest here in the studio with us. Maria Huff is one of our summer interns this year, so if you stop by our office and you see her, she's a great resource and is just going to be sitting here, maybe throwing a few things in.
Yeah,
today.
she'll say hello once in a while.
Right. So today we have quite the variety of things to talk about. One of the things that I think you've got a few calls in the office, Chandra,
Right.
is about power going out.
Right. Keeping food safe and cool, especially in the freezer, also in the refrigerator, when we experience the rainstorms, which we have been having. So your power goes out, what to do. So we'll talk about that.
Yep. And then we also are going to be talking about sleep. Now that your kids are out of school, it seems like they're staying up later because the sun is out later. And like my 3-year-old son says, but the sun's not asleep, Mom. And then at 5 o'clock, Mom, the sun's awake.
Okay.
That's one of the
Oh, geez.
things about living up north is the sun is
I'm excited to talk about
ever
sleep.
prevalent. And then we're also going to be hearing a little bit about our 4-H camp that we have up in Washburn. So our camping season kicked off a few weeks ago, and we're in our second week of
Right.
camp right now. So we'll be talking a little bit about the opportunities we have there. So good show today. But we're going to start with a trivia question.
Okay,
so
goody.
we do these every once in a while. So if you know the answer, or you think you know the answer, call in. And if you're right, we will send you a pack of goodies from our extension office.
Okay, what's the phone number?
It is
663
663-1270.
1270.
So 663-1270. Give us a call if you know the answer.
Okay.
So the question is, and I pulled everybody in the studio before we started it, and
I didn't have it right.
everybody was off. So the question is, we're talking about adolescence, which we define adolescence as teenagers, so ages 10 to 17.
Okay.
How many hours of sleep do they generally need?
How many hours of sleep do teens, right? Or adolescents need. Okay.
Right, adolescence. So we're going to talk a little bit about sleep. Oh, we have our first caller
I
already.
believe we have a caller.
All right. Hello. This is the Extension Connection. Do you
Yeah, is it 8 to 9 hours?
You're really close, actually.
Okay, so just pick one of those.
9 hours.
Yep. We'll give it to you. It's
9 hours, color one.
9.25 hours. Yep. And teens actually, on average, only get about 6 hours and 50 minutes of sleep. So they're short over 2 hours of sleep.
You know, honestly, I was in Bismarck High School recently, and I believe it. I do not have much interaction between the students during first period and even second period. They don't really wake up until third period. I don't know if breakfast counters that, make sure they eat breakfast because that does help, but they are just as tired as we are as parents.
Caller, do you have a teenager at home?
I do not. I've got little kids.
Okay.
So how old are your little kids?
9, 7, and 3.
Okay, so 9-year-olds, they say, need 10 to 11 hours of sleep. Same with those 7-year-olds. And then a 3-year-old, let's see, do you have a guess on how much sleep they need?
Probably 10 and a half.
Actually, 11 to 13 hours of
Okay.
sleep.
And does that count? Do you add the nap times in?
Actually, they say toddlers, that would include the nap times
Total.
because they say 11 hours of
Okay.
sleep plus a 2-hour nap.
Right. So
So-
does your 3-year-old have to nap? What time do you put the 3-year-old down for nap?
Depends on the day. He still needs a nap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a 3-year-old too, and
Yep.
if he doesn't get a nap, I don't know about your house, caller, but my house is not a pleasant place to be come about 5
imagine.
o'clock without a nap.
Yeah.
Great. Well, if you want to hold on to the line, we'll get your...
Hold on for 3 minutes.
Hold on for about 3 minutes. We'll get your information and send you out a package from the Extension office.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks
Thank you
for
very
calling.
much for calling in. So as you can see, sleep is really important. And sometimes, I mean, when babies are born, we know, they need a lot of
They're
sleep.
always sleeping.
They say newborns up to 2 months need up to 18 hours of sleep a day.
Wow.
So
Yep,
they're sleeping
okay.
more than they're awake.
Right,
And
right.
then it kind of goes down from there. But like I said, as the summer is approaching us, the sun is out longer. Kids want to be outside playing.
Mm-hmm.
In the winter, it's easy because you'd be like, oh, the sun's in bed. Now you need to go to bed.
Yeah, it is easier.
But it's the few things that are important when you're helping your kids get that sleep is establishing a routine that has a consistent sleep and wake schedule. And that kind of stinks on the weekends because if they're getting up at 6:30 on the weekday to get ready for school or to get ready to go to daycare, they should be getting up at that same time on the weekends.
Right.
And kids have this wonderful biological clock that does it for them.
They do.
And so establishing that routine really will help get quality sleep.
Absolutely.
And having a regular, relaxing bedtime routine, you can definitely tell a kid who has a routine. We have a routine at our house. We put our pajamas on, we have a snack, we read some stories, we sing a song, we go to bed. And there's a little boy that lives down the street who is with his grandma a lot, so they have a different routine at grandma's house than at home. And you can definitely tell.
Really? Yeah.
Because grandma's like, I struggle. I was just talking to her last night. I so struggle getting him to bed on time. You know, it's usually like an hour before we get him to sleep. And you don't realize how much that routine plays into getting quality sleep at night. Also having a sleep-conducive environment. And that means it's dark, quiet, comfortable, and cool.
Okay.
So as you can see, 3 of those things are probably kind of hard to do. Getting it dark when the sun doesn't go down until 10 o'clock at night. So get some blackout shades.
Yep.
Even if you just hang a blanket over the window, that helps a lot. Quiet. If you live in town, sometimes that can be a challenge. We live right down the street from an ambulance barn. And so
that's right.
all hours of the day we get ambulances. And I'm like, oh, man. And then cool. So this is the time of year where it gets kind of hot. And so having a fan in the room can really help cool it. And the fan also adds white noise to keep it quiet. So we'll be back after the break.
Right now, 61. Get the traffic and weather information you need anytime on Super Talk 1270 and online at supertalk1270.com.
All right, and welcome back to the Extension Connection here with Burleigh County. This is Amelia Dahl, 4-H Youth Development Agent, and I'm joined here in the studio by Maria, one of our summer interns, and by Chandra Zeman-Belinsky, our FCS agent.
Good morning, everybody. I'm just going to start by mentioning that we have an exciting opportunity. We have some food preservation classes that we're giving throughout the growing season this summer, and the first one is actually next week. So I'll mention this a couple times throughout the show. Our first class is June 18th. We're going to be making strawberry rhubarb jam. The classes are from 4 to 7 p.m., and they're each $5 a session. The novelty is you actually get a little bit of product to go home with. And the key here is that they are not demonstrations. We do have one demonstration, but the majority of these are hands-on. You'll actually be canning. So give yourself a few hours, but you're going to learn the process from beginning to end. Okay, so June starts next week. We do have a couple classes. We do pressure canning, water bath canning in July. We'll make green beans as well as pickles. We have a water bath canning, specifically salsa, in August, and that's our Saturday class from 9 to noon, August 22nd. And the fruit leather class, which is a demonstration, I mean, it would take about 10 hours to dry out our apple fruit leather. So we'll give you a little bit because we'll make it ahead of time. That'll be September 30th. So we'll get more specific with the dates later. But back into making sure that we're getting enough sleep.
Yes. And Chandra, if we have people who are interested in those preservation classes, how can we register?
How do we do it? Well, let's give the phone number to start off, because we're actually doing since there's a $5 registration fee, you can send the check to our office. I won't give you the address verbatim until the end of the show. But the number to call to register is 701-221-6865, and you can talk to Mindy.
Perfect. All right. So before the break, we were talking about sleep and how probably the majority of us don't get enough sleep. Mm-hmm. As adults, they recommend 7 to 9 hours of sleep. An average adult gets about 6 hours and 54 minutes. So adults are actually averaging more sleep than adolescents.
That is interesting.
By 4 minutes. But, that adds up. So we talked about having a dark, quiet, comfortable, and cool place to sleep. Another big one, and I think we're all guilty of this, is keep what they call sleep stealers out of the bedroom. And this is things like watching TV, using a computer, Reading is even considered a sleep stealer.
Okay. Really?
Being on your phone. Yep. A sleep stealer is you want your bed to be a place that when you lay down, your body's like, okay, my job here is to sleep.
Yep.
If you lay down and you read a book before you go to bed, or you check Facebook, which I think probably 99% of the population who has Facebook does that, or check emails quick, your body is confused about what's supposed to be happening in that bed. So
Okay. I remember learning that in psychology.
Yep.
It's one of those things.
So, and make sure your mattress and your pillows are comfortable. And everybody, this means something different for everybody, whether you sleep on your side, your back, your stomach, whether you like a firm pillow or a soft pillow.
What do you guys like for pillows?
I like a lot of pillows.
A lot?
I
Okay.
sleep with like 5 pillows and it drives my husband nuts.
Yeah, some people are like that. I like firm pillows. And I didn't really realize this. I mean, when you think of I want to rest, you think soft environment. But I do better with a little bit firmer mattress and firm pillows. I can't do soft pillows.
I like having a lot of pillows too.
Okay, a lot.
You're a lot of pillows. Yep.
So
I like
do
to
you
have a
soft or hard or what?
I like to have a medium pillow for my head, and then one that I can like roll up into a little ball, and one on my. I don't know. I'm
Sure.
a pillow hoarder.
Yeah.
So make sure that whatever comfortable means to you, be comfortable. Finish eating at least 2 or 3 hours before your regular bedtime.
Oh, sure.
And this is kind of unique because a lot of parents will send their kids to bed right after a snack because kids need that extra protein to be able to sleep through the night. So make sure that snack isn't high in sugar, high in caffeine. I mean, don't give your kid
Sure.
a bunch of sugar before they go to bed and wonder why they're up till 11 o'clock at night. Avoid caffeine and alcohol products close to bedtime and give up smoking. So those are all kind of things that contribute to poor sleep habits, as well as exercising regularly can help your body kind of be ready to get into that sleep mode. So there's a lot of things, and especially with kids, that we need to take into consideration because that's really where good sleep habits are formed is when they're children.
Right.
My oldest son, we weren't so good about having a sleep routine, and he now at 3.5 is kind of a bugger to get to bed. But my 18-month-old will walk up and hang on the crib until when he's ready to go to bed because we were so diligent when he was little about doing that.
Yeah, I could
So
see
if you're
that.
a good sleeper, thank your parents.
Interesting.
Yeah. So just a little bit about sleep. We also today, when we're on the subject of kids, talking about protecting your kids from insect bites.
Okay. Oh, yes. You wrote a really good public service announcement or press release for this. So
Yeah. So insects are horrible this year.
Yeah.
Because
they are.
we didn't
Ticks,
have very
mosquitoes.
everything.
Yes.
We didn't have a very hard winter, so those ticks and bugs that kind of winter over didn't really have to survive. So even the weak ones are around. And we've had a lot of moisture, which is great because the farmers, the gardeners needed the moisture,
Yep.
but that also opens the door for mosquitoes.
Sure.
And as a mom, I know that a lot of the times my question is, well, what do I use? What don't I use on my kids? And the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recommend adults use an insect repellent that contains 30% or less DEET.
Okay.
Okay. So children, and that's what they say, ages 2 to 12, should use a product that contains no more than 10% DEET.
Okay.
And repellents with DEET should be used sparingly on children ages 3 through 6 years old and not at all on infants younger than 2 months.
Right.
So if you have those 3 really from birth to 6 months old, there's not a lot to use on them. They do say that, there's all these products out on the market, like the ultrasonic bracelets or the having a bat house in your backyard. I didn't realize that was a thing until I did a little more research, and people put bat houses in their backyard.
You would come across this. This is interesting.
There are a lot of
As your
cons to having bats in your backyard.
Yeah, I had a bat in my garage last summer. And I'm like, I screamed, and I didn't expect all this movement. And I'm like, Bob, get him out. And
Yeah, bats are not good things. So while they do eat mosquitoes, not effective at keeping the mosquito population down. There's also some things going around saying garlic or vitamin B, if you ingest a lot of that orally, that mosquitoes won't like you. Maybe they think mosquitoes are kind of like vampires and they don't like garlic. I don't know.
Things.
But that is not effective, according to research done by NDSU.
Okay.
But some of the things that are effective, pittacardin which is similar to a low dose of DEET. They like this product because it doesn't have the odor of DEET.
Okay, how do you spell that now? If we're
PICARIDIN. And that needs to be applied about every 3 hours or more, depending on the concentration you're using.
Okay.
And one of the big things we see parents doing is trying to kill two birds with one stone and wanting sunscreen with insect repellent. There's a big problem with that because sunscreen we need to apply often and in copious amounts. I mean, so you get nice and protected. Bug spray and insect repellent, we want to make sure we're applying as little and as spread out as possible. So if we're protecting against sun, we're getting an overdose of insect repellent. If we're protecting against insects, we're not getting the protection we need from the UV rays.
Okay.
So something to keep in mind when you're doing kids, oil of lemon eucalyptus can also be used as an insect repellent, but it's not recommended for use on children under age 3.
Okay.
So that is one of those more natural-based. It is a plant-based product, so that's a little more natural.
Right.
But if you have children under 3, it is not recommended.
You have anything about citronella in there?
They don't have anything on this specific one about citronella.
Right.
We also have 2% soybean oil.
Okay.
The protection is similar to a low dose of 10% DEET, and that's good for about 1 to 3.5 hours.
Soybean oil.
Soybean oil.
I'm going to have to look into that one.
Yeah. That was something I didn't know before I was doing research on this. So things to kind of protect your child. Obviously, we're not going to be putting a lot of mosquito spray on our kids. If it's not super hot out, put them in long pants and long sleeves. Get those longer sleeved shirts that are nice and cool. Helps protect them. Put a hat on their head. My son is notorious for getting mosquito bites on his head. Like, I don't know how you manage that, but he looks like a pizza because he has mosquito bites everywhere.
That's good.
So protect them as much as possible.
Okay.
Use insect netting over strollers or playpens if you have small children outside playing to keep them out of there. And don't you use perfumes or other scents that attract biting.
Oh, one time I bought an apple blossom, just spray, and it really did attract the bees.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, it was effective in faking them out. So I totally believe that one.
Yeah, and one thing that I think parents do in the summertime is we put especially if you have little girls, in bright, flowery clothes. Well, think about who likes bright, flowery clothes.
Sure.
Bugs and bees.
I mean, bees are good. Okay, let's not be afraid of bees. We need bees for pollination. But, we don't want them to be swarming us. So, let them be where they need to be.
Yep.
Right.
Very funny that we're letting bees be.
Okay, leave it to me to come up with the slogan this hour.
Right.
So I wanted to mention, because you had, and I don't know if I'm saying the word correctly, the picaridin, which is, a chemical that's effective just like DEET, okay, but we're saying it's better for the youngsters, but not under 3. Did I remember that correctly?
Nope.
So that one's okay for the
that
little
one's
ones?
Okay, yep.
Okay, so I wanted to mention now, NDSU Extension, we do not endorse any types of products, but as you're mentioning this, I wanted to let everybody know these are some products that do have it in there. So you can go to the store, any local department store, and Walmart, Target, what have you, and this would be in the family off. Okay, and there's 5% picaridin in there, if we're saying it correctly. Okay. Also, the Avon Skin So Soft has one of those with picaridin in it. And so we want to remember that we don't want to get the one with the sunscreen protection factor. And this one happens to be with an orange top and a silver lid, and it's called the Bug Guard Plus. So that has the picaridin in there. Just a couple products to apply to when you're shopping.
Yep, so when you're out there look for that picaridin in those. A few other things. Avoid outside activities at dusk or dawn. That's when mosquitoes are
definitely active. That's where
We will be back after the break.
Right now, 61.
Get the app called Radio Pup for your iPhone and take us everywhere you go. Bismarck and Mandan's own Super Talk 1270.
All right, welcome back to the Extension Connection here with Burley County. Before the break, we talked a little bit about sleeping and protecting your kids from mosquito bites, just some different products, things that work, things that don't. Moral of the story, don't get bats in your backyard.
Okay, yeah, that's right. We talked about bad houses.
Right. So now we're going to talk a little bit about another problem that we see when we get a lot of rain, in addition to all those mosquitoes, is some power outages.
Okay, so let's move into, I just wanted to reiterate to anybody that's just tuning in, we have some food preservation classes we're offering throughout the growing season this year. So we're really excited to offer this. If you'd like to register to learn how to make jam from scratch, to learn how to pressure cook, or to pressure can, excuse me. There is a difference between pressure cooking and pressure canning. But we're going to teach you how to pressure can with green beans. We're going to do water bath canning by making pickles as well as salsa, and then also an apple fruit leather demonstration. So this is throughout the season. For more information, please call our Burley County Extension office at 701-221-6865. And go ahead and ask for Mindy. Again, my name is Chandra Zeman-Belinsky. I'm the Family and Consumer Science Agent. We're going to pair up with United Tribes. They have a wonderful kitchen over there. That's where these classes will be. So talking a little bit about food safety, that's kind of my forte. If I do have one in life, I know a little bit about how to keep your food safe. And we had a call this week, and I remember having this last year at about this time. What happens when the power goes out and then your freezer malfunctions and doesn't come back on? Or just is out for a while? What do you do? Okay, well, there's a couple things. The number one rule, if the power goes out, to keeping the fridge or freezer door closed so that the cold air doesn't escape. So don't go and open it, because you probably already know there's a bunch of stuff in there. So leave it closed. And there is an important element here. It's actually better if the power goes out and your freezer's full of food than if it's half full or hardly full.
I could see that.
And it makes sense because all of that acts as ice in there. And so it actually almost doubles your time if you have a full freezer versus half full or under that. So the rule of thumb is we say that food in most freezers will stay below 40 degrees Fahrenheit for up to 3 days. Some articles will tell you 2 days, okay, but up to 3 days if you keep the door closed, even in the summer. So I have our deep freeze. Now, deep freezes, the chest type freezers versus the stand-up freezers have a tendency to preserve our food even longer. So the deep freeze. So if you're concerned, if you're going out of town or something of that nature, or those of us that travel around the 4th of July, or when you have your little family trips in the summer, try to put the majority of your food in the deep freeze versus the stand-up freezers. I have a deep freeze in my garage. Do you guys have a deep freeze in your garage? Where do you have it?
In my garage.
Okay, interesting.
Yep, we have one in our garage.
In your
we also
garage.
have one in the basement.
In the basement. Okay, and so my grandparents have one in the basement. My parents have theirs in the garage. Okay, so we're all probably in the same demographic, but I think the majority of us have it in the garage. And unless your garage is, and somebody paid money, maybe you did, maybe the previous owners, to really insulate your garage can act as a serious greenhouse effect. So it can get hotter in your garage than it is outside. So really, that's all irrelevant. We're just saying we recognize that it's in the summer. Your food can stay frozen in that freezer for longer than you thought. Okay. Couple added points here. How fast food will thaw in a power outage depends on a few factors. So let's go through those factors. The amount of food in the freezer we already talked about. Kind of food in the freezer. A freezer filled with meat will stay cold longer than one filled with baked goods. Okay, and that makes sense. I mean, think about the texture of baked goods versus meat. There's a lot of water. It's all about water and the amount when it comes to spoilage factor. So we're talking right now about food safety. We'll get into the quality element a little later, because if your food, we all know that if your food, just from a sheer, I'm a regular person that likes to eat, when your food thaws and then refreezes, it doesn't taste as good as when it was fresh. Right? Would you agree? I mean, Okay. So temperature of the food, the colder the food, the longer it'll stay frozen. Okay. So if you have it cranked all the way up, you're probably going to have to clean it out more often and thaw it so that you can clean off that accumulation around the side. But the colder it is, you're using more energy, but the more likely it's going to stay cold. So if you do go out of town and you're concerned about it, go ahead and crank it up and then make sure you turn it back down when you return home. So one other factor is how the freezer was made. And I kind of want to touch on this for a second, because a lot of us, we know we need a deep freeze. Ooh, this one's on sale. It's a really good deal. Well, it could be not as well insulated, the way that it was manufactured. So, it's just nice to look at the specifications of the product that you're shopping for. A well-insulated freezer will keep your food frozen longer than one that has a little insulation, and usually that price reflects it. And so I actually really appreciate, I went to school in the Twin Cities, and my parents decided to buy me a deep freeze, which I really appreciate because I like to bring good old North Dakota meat from Mandan, North Dakota so whenever I came home, I would take meat back, and then I was able to keep it in that deep freeze. And I tell you what, my deep freeze isn't the best quality. I appreciated that they bought it, but it probably wouldn't handle one that, a higher quality, good insulated deep freeze would handle. Okay, size of the freezer. Now, what size do you guys have? I actually don't know how big mine is.
We just got a new one.
It's by cubic feet. Do you know how many cubic feet your freezer?
A lot. How's that for a measurement?
I'm thinking it's maybe like 18 cubic feet or something. So if we do have a situation, like think 2011, unfortunately we experienced that record flood in this community, and we had to adjust. I mean, we were looking into how do we help people keep their food safe and things of that nature, because the last thing you want to do is empty your freezer when you're worried about everything else, like your family pictures. So we said, all right, this is how much dry ice you need. Okay, there's other options. You can also I'm not aware of where I can refer you to, but if you can take some of your goods to your friend's house, your family, if you have family in the area, or even some commercial businesses may offer to house your food. So, but let's get into dry ice. So as far as cubic feet, you need 1 pound per cubic foot of your freezer. So a lot of them, I think mine is a 12 cubic foot, but I'm not positive. So some of the bigger ones are like 18. You're getting up into 18 pounds of dry ice. So that's getting into being a much larger freezer. So, you can get as detailed as you want, but just remember the number one rule is keep your door closed. So I also want to get into the last element here on this subject, unless you guys have any questions for me, is temperature. Okay, really, if you're wondering, pull out that food thermometer that everybody should have in their kitchen right now. If you don't have a food thermometer, give me a buzz at 221-6865. I'm going to help you out, honestly, because you should be cooking your food to a temperature. It's no longer we don't say pink in the middle anymore, right, everybody? So it's to a temperature with your ground beef, with your hamburger, not to color. So same thing. Pull out that food thermometer. You want to make sure that you're cooking your leftovers to 165 degrees in center temp. All right. So let's make sure that if you're questioning some of your food, go ahead and do the field test first of all. So if it's not solid, you know that you're going to be worried about it. So you want do we have a caller here?
I think Ashley's on the line.
Okay, well, just take just a moment here, but make sure that none of the food that you save is above 50 degrees. That's the important thing. And if you don't know how long your freezer was out, you want it to temp at 40 degrees or less, and then you're safe. That's the magic mark. Once you get into 41 degrees, you're in the danger zone. So then you have to know how long it was there. Okay, so Amelia, I think Ashley's here. If we want to take a call from her. Good morning, Ashley.
Good morning, you all.
Hi. So Ashley's out at 4-H camp. How's it going out there?
It's great. We're up here at livestock camp, and we're having a great time. And we just finished up our round robin, where all of our kids got to show different animals, and just a lovely time.
That was a pretty perfect cow moo right there, Ashley.
We just heard a cow.
Yeah, and actually there was a steer that just about 20 feet from me got away, and so good thing we're standing here. That way that steer didn't take off too far.
Okay, so see, now Ashley's the expert when it comes to this kind of stuff, and we just said cow, and she said steer.
Yes.
So
that's one of the things she's really trying to drive home with me is not all
and I appreciate
cattle
that.
or cows.
Yeah.
Right,
yes,
Ashley?
That's right. We have male and female cattle. And so we have cows, and then we have our steers, and those are the castrated males.
Okay.
So what are some of the other things you're doing up at camp?
All right. So the other things we're doing up at camp, we're going to have a animal science quiz bowl for kids, and so we've got some learning trunks that are all about animal livestock, and we looked over those this morning, and we'll have a quiz bowl where we'll have the buzzers and the timers and all, and we'll ask kids questions, and they'll get a buzz in, and we have 11 teams, and so that's on the agenda for this afternoon. And then, of course, the water slide. Kat, you're pretty excited about that, aren't you?
Yes.
So
All right,
you
so
got
who do you
to
have
see
with
that
you, Ashley?
Water slide yesterday, and some other kids in the horse camp got to go to the water slide, and so all of our livestock kids are pretty excited for that water slide today.
Awesome. So I heard you have a youth with you. Who do you have with you?
Yeah, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, I am Katerina Vacco, and I came up here to just know how to show my cow a little bit better.
Awesome. And where are you from, Katerina?
I'm from Valley City, North Dakota.
Are you having fun?
Yes.
What's been your favorite part so far?
I kind of like whipping the pigs.
Whipping the pigs.
Yeah,
Very
they all
good.
got to learn how to show some pigs. We had Daryl Lease was generous enough to bring down 7 pigs for the kids to learn how to show, and so kids are learning to show all types of livestock here.
Awesome. Well, if you have, for our listeners, if you guys have youth who are interested in attending camp, they're not all livestock-based camp. We have camps that run weekly throughout the summer. We have an adventure camp, which is just a little bit of everything.
Okay.
We also have a mud pit at camp. Are the livestock kids going to get to do the mud pit, Ashley?
You know, they did fill it yesterday, and I think the mud pit is going to be on the agenda for this afternoon also.
Perfect.
So, what is something that you've really enjoyed about camp so far?
Well, I like meeting new friends and getting to know everybody.
Awesome.
All right, that's great. And we have here at our camp, we have 34 participants, and that's the most participants that this livestock camp has had ever. So we are boosting our numbers, and so that's wonderful.
That's awesome. And actually, the 4-H camp was recently all remodeled. So I have to ask, Katerina, are the beds comfortable?
They are very comfortable.
All right.
Good. Have you been to camp before?
No, I haven't, and I'm very enjoying it.
Good. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah.
So in addition to remodeled, and we got new beds, they also are in the finishing stages of building a new Johns Rood Educational Center up there. So there's a lot of great stuff happening up at 4-H camp. It sounds like Katerina is having a lot of fun. Anything else you want to add to get people to come to camps, Katerina?
Well, I would say you have a very good experience meeting new friends, and you get to learn how to show a lot of animals.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys very much for calling in. Enjoy the rest of camp. Have fun on that water slide. Ashley and I spent a lot of time cleaning it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right, you guys have a great day there.
Thank you,
too.
Ashley. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Right now, it's 61.
Our own radio station. Not Fargo, not the Twin Cities. Proud to be Bismarck and Mandan's own Super Talk 1270.
All right, welcome back from the Extension Connection. Right before the break, we were talking to Ashley Stegman, our ag agent in Burley County, as well as Katerina from Valley City. She's up there at livestock camp. Sounds like they're having a lot of fun learning about the different livestock and having some general camp fun, too, playing on the water slide and the mud pit. So if you have youth who are interested in camp, we have camps that go until the end of summer that range in...
Junior Master Horseman, aren't we doing this year?
Yep, there's a horse. I wish I had a horse camp.
I wish I had a horse camp.
Yep. And then there's also cooking camps.
Right.
You're the chef.
You're the chef.
And we have adventure camps, which are just those kind of do everything camps. That's one of the camps that I'm in charge of. And we're going to do ice dyeing, which is like tie dyeing, only you use ice instead of water. We're going
Take
to
some pictures of that. Yeah.
I will. We'll be doing geocaching,
Okay.
going on the water slide, of course. You can't be at camp
How
without
many
the water
feet is that
slide.
water slide?
27
27 feet. It's a
Yes.
pretty neat thing.
It is. It's this huge inflatable water slide. It's a lot of fun. The mud pit is what everybody talks about when they come to camp. We're also going to be building fishing poles at camp. So not only are we going to be going fishing, we're going to be building fishing poles. So if you have youth who are interested in enrolling in whatever camp that fits their interests, they can call our office at 221-6865, and we can get you directed. Everything is done. Registration's all online, and you can choose which camp you want to go to. And they check in on Sunday, and they're done on Thursday. So as a parent, it's kind of nice to be like, okay, have fun at camp, and have that time to yourself.
Sure.
I tell you what, I hope I get to go with.
I think you get to, Maria.
Awesome.
So in addition to camp, 4-H has a lot of stuff going on in the summer. We have our achievement days. A lot of great things happen with 4-H. One of the things that our Burleigh County ambassadors are putting together, and these are our older youth, so our high school age 4-Hers, is a book drive. And now this is kind of a unique book drive. We are helping to build a library over in Uganda. So we need your books. And that is anything used, new books ranging in age from preschool, preschool, all the way up to 12th grade. So any books that you have that you no longer want, you can drop off at our office, and that address is 3715 East Bismarck Expressway. So we're over on the east end of town, over kind of by Buckstop Junction and Game and Fish. So we'll be collecting those books throughout the summer, and then we're going to send them to Uganda. We have a contact. We're working with Grassroots Uganda. We have somebody who works for them who's coming to the States, so she's going to be taking all of those books back with her. So if you have books, or if you're at a rummage sale and you see a box of books, 10 cents a piece, pick a few of those up. We would love to have them. They'll be put to great use over in Uganda for those kids who need books.
That's a great opportunity because we all have a book or two that we could spare.
Yes, and especially if I know a lot of people have the Imagination Library.
Yes, that's right.
And if you have multiple kids, I get multiples of the same book. Like, I think now I have 3 copies of Llama Llama Red Pajama. I can only read one at a time. So if you have extra books laying around, maybe your kids have outgrown their books, please drop them off at our office. We're working with community partners to get additional drops throughout the community. So if that does happen, we will be posting on our Facebook page as well as our website. So be sure to go like our Facebook page so you can get up-to-date information about this and also all of our other programs.
Plenty of you, I always hear that daycares are really full. I encourage you to call us at 221-6865. Even ask for Amelia if you need to. And take a drop-off opportunity. Make your daycare into a site that collects books, and we'll take them off your hands.
Yes, we have our ambies will be happy to come out and collect books. And on that note, there may be 4-Hers canvassing your neighborhood, putting posters on your door saying, hey, we're going to be back to your neighborhood on this day for book drops. This is the same kind of thing that the letter carriers do for their food drive. So if you're not home, hang those books on the door, and we will pick those up from you.
Okay.
And we really appreciate your donation. So like I said, like our Facebook page to find out about this and other programs. And at the beginning of the show, Chandra talked a little bit about a food preservation series of classes that she has going on this summer. So do you want to give us a little more information about those?
Yes, I'd like to give you the full shebang this time, everybody. So tune in. Ready, set, turn it up. 2015 food preservation classes. Okay, so really we're giving a series of classes across the season, and you would register for each one of these classes separately. We do have a small fee on them because you get to go home with products. So this is an opportunity, and I've talked to a lot of different extension agents across the state of North Dakota, and you typically don't have an opportunity like this. A lot of times there'll be a lunch and learn, and you have about a 40-minute time frame. Well, in that time frame, you can't actually get down and really get into the class itself and do it hands-on. These are hands-on classes. The first one is June 18th. And we're making strawberry rhubarb jam. We're going to be at the United Tribes Technical College for all of these in the Skills Center. And so the time is from 4 to 7 p.m. for these evening classes. So June 18th, that starts next week. This should be a fantastic recipe. So you'll work in groups of 4 and actually be able to make the jam live right there and take a jar home. Okay, so July 16th is our second class, and we're actually going to teach you how to pressure can using pressure canners. And we're going to make green beans. That's also from 4 to 7.
This is a big one that I hear a lot of people talking about because I'm involved with Bountiful Baskets, and so people get cases of green beans whatever. All these fruits and vegetables, and they asked me, so Amelia, how do I preserve these? And I'm like, you need to talk to Chandra in our office.
And
here's her number.
I appreciate you saying that because at least we know there's a demographic out there. There's a group of people that wants to learn about this. But the more I hear about it, people are a little bit intimidated by pressure canning.
They scare me.
No need. Come on in. We'll tell you how to do it.
I think people are scared because they've heard horror stories of their great-grandmas having problems with them.
Yes.
But we've learned a lot more science behind them. We have better pressure canners now. So that will be a great class. What else do you have?
Okay, so we have July 23rd, about a week later, we have a water bath canning. And really, we're making pickles, but I just want you to know that's considered water bath versus pressure canning. Okay, so we're making pickles that night, 4 to 7 p.m., $5 for that session as well. In August, we have our one weekend class. So we have a Saturday class from 9 to noon. And this will be making salsa. That's also considered water bath canning. So August 22nd. Again, call our office, 221-6865. Talk to Mindy, and she can get you signed up. And then our last class will be September 30th. And this is a demonstration because we are telling you how to dry and preserve food by dehydration. And we're going to make apple fruit leather. This is the time, the end of the season, where you start having a bunch of apples. Okay, what am I going to do with these apples? So
you have more than you know what to do with.
Exactly. So, apple or fruit leather children love. So if you make it yourself, you feel better about giving it to them. And this will be 5:30 to 7 p.m. And we'll have a sample for you to be able to take home. So we'll have done that the day before. So we really encourage you to become knowledgeable and to share this opportunity to practice in your own home after you learn how to do it with us, so that your children, even your grandchildren, know how. Because everybody says, oh, I remember my mom or my grandma used to can a lot. I want to hear now that my daughter and I do it together, so that we keep this tradition alive.
Right. It's a great way to preserve foods when they're in season.
Yes, like your
like bountiful baskets.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So we all have a plethora if we garden. It seems like we have a crop that is just coming out of our eyeballs.
Right.
A few years ago, that was peppers for me. Mm-hmm. I had habanero peppers that I didn't know what to do with.
Yeah.
And so these are great opportunities to learn to
Are
can.
you hiring but not?
No, I'm not hiring, Jim. Thanks for asking.
Gremlins.
The gremlins have entered the studio. But these are great opportunities to learn how to do it correctly.
Yes, that's right. And because we know more about bacteria than we did 20 years ago. And so here's something else that I hear a lot of, and you can relate probably, that, nobody's ever gotten sick off my grandma's recipe. However, and I heard this, and I don't know if it was you, Amelia, or if it was another FCS agent, but this was a great analogy. Food safety is a little different now. So everything that you do, you have to either add an acid, water bath can, or pressure can, really, when it comes to preserving in a jar. And so if you didn't get sick before on an old recipe, it's like closing your eyes and trying to cross the interstate. You can do it, but eventually you're going to get caught. You're going to get hit.
You better hope everybody else is paying attention.
That's right. And if you happen to take a jar to a church because you have, a potluck or even a graduation, this is where we heard about this in April in Ohio. Unfortunately, a church some people came down with C. botulinum, and that can be deadly. So let's just learn how to do it right and keep the traditions alive. And we might have to tweak an old recipe or two, but that's okay.
Right. All right. Well, that's all we have from the Burley County Extension Office. As always, if you have questions about anything, give us a call at 221-6865.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a great week.